Hey guys, as you can tell, this is a completely different car. I got rid of my Jeep and ended up getting a Nissan Maxima, 2002 Nissan Maxima 6-speed. I haven't had any issues with it until now. What's going on is, if I shift here, the car has very poor acceleration. Now, if I go into first, before I can even start going, I have to rev up the engine very high, and then it'll kick on and it'll actually go. But other than that, it has zero acceleration. So I'm gonna try a few things here to see if we can get that fixed up. Now, as I'm driving it, first gear, second gear, any of the gears feel like they're in third gear, which typically means that the car's transmission has gone into limp mode, which, if you guys have seen my other videos, you know that I have the same issue with my Jeep. The transmission basically does that to protect itself from getting destroyed. And there's a bunch of things that could be wrong. Obviously, as you can tell, there's no engine codes. There's nothing. So I don't know what to go off of. I was reading about this on a few forums, and one of the first suggestions that came up was to clean the mass airflow filter, or the mass airflow sensor, excuse me. So I went and got this, and I'll go ahead and clean that out, and I may as well clean the throttle body since it's basically in the same area. So I'll go ahead and try that out and see if this fixes it, as some people suggested on the forums. So first off, we'll want to pop the hood and disconnect the negative battery terminal. So go ahead and get this side disconnected, and then we can start working on the electronics back here. Alright, now that we have that disconnected, it looks like the MAF is right here, this little area, since this is the connector. So we need to get all of this out of here. To start off, you'll want to take out these two Phillips screws. They're plastic, so be very careful not to strip them. So actually I only had to remove this one. This one, as mentioned, is already stripped, but that was enough leverage there to get that out. As long as that's out, we should be okay, and then we can continue on to taking out the filter box. So as you can tell, the MAF is sitting right there. So first off, there's a 10mm bolt there, one down there, one right here, and a couple up here on the top. You want to take all of those out. Alright, so after you've got those 5 bolts, again, that's one right there, one down there, one right here, one right there, and one right there. You should be able to move this, and all we need to do now is remove this clamp. So you can either use an 8mm socket or a flathead screwdriver to loosen this up. Alright, now after you've loosened up that clamp, I suggest you get this out of that hole, and then you unplug the MAF sensor. It looks like there's a clip back here, so press down on it and it should come out like so. Get this completely out of the way, and then you should be able to get this box out of here. Actually, when you're doing this, instead of removing the bolts that are located here and here, just go ahead and remove them from this metal clamp. I didn't notice this at first, but it looks like this is going to prevent the box from being pulled out unless we take it off as well. So you may as well take those out to begin with. Alright, so after you've got those bolts off, you should be able to take this out, this clamp. And now we should be able to lift this whole assembly out. So as you can tell there's the mass airflow sensor. It's very sensitive, so you do have to be careful not to touch it. This is also a good time to clean out this box if there's any debris in there. Now, to get the MAF sensor out of here to clean it properly, there's 4 10mm bolts holding it there. You don't have to take it out, but I suggest doing so just so you can clean it properly, and then none of the dirt from the inside here can get on that little sensor. So after you've got those 4 bolts, you should have your MAF sensor, and then you can just go ahead and get your cleaner and spray everything in here and this screen. Alright, so you've got your mass airflow sensor cleaner here. Please don't use any other cleaner to try and clean your mass airflow sensor. This part is very expensive. I just checked at O'Reilly's before I got this. This part was about $290. So yeah, be very careful with this sensor. It's a very expensive part, and I'm sure you don't want to mess it up. So shake this a little bit and then just spray this out. Now the most important part is that, let me zoom in, that little metal piece there. For whatever reason, that's very sensitive and it can heat up and stop working completely. But that's also the part that, since it's so sensitive, if it gets any sort of dirt or debris on it, it will stop working, or it won't function as it should. So get your cleaner, give it a good spray. Now, if you guys have seen my other videos, like when I cleaned the mass airflow sensor on my Jeep, this one doesn't even compare. This one's pretty clean compared to that one. But as mentioned, that thing is very sensitive, so this could make a difference between my car accelerating or having some sort of transmission issue. So we'll set that aside and we'll clean the throttle body as well. So at this point, the throttle body is right here, and the only thing that's holding this is just this one clamp, it looks like, and that is an 8mm bolt. or a flathead screwdriver. If you've undone that, you should be able to pull this off. And as you can tell, that's pretty dirty actually. So it's a good thing that we're getting everything cleaned out. So go ahead and get your throttle body and air intake cleaner and just spray your throttle body. I would suggest doing it from the side here so it doesn't come back and get you in the eye. The fumes are very strong, so be careful with that as well. Now, I also suggest that you push this in with your finger and spray the back panel and some of the inside as well. Just try and clean it out as much as possible. And then we'll get it put back together and see if that made a difference or not. Now, before you put this back together, I suggest you leave it there for about 5 or 10 minutes just so that that cleaner can evaporate, and that way it doesn't choke out the engine when you first try and start the car. So to put it back together, we just do everything in reverse order. Put this back on the throttle body, make sure it's in there snug, and again, that's a 8mm bolt or a flathead screwdriver that you need to use to tighten that up. Now get your mass airflow sensor and stick it back in here. You may want to clean around the edges if your box is dirty like mine. And remember to put the connector at the top towards the slot here. And just screw this in place. Alright, now that you've got that back in place, make sure this is in here. And then you can stick this back in place. Watch for these wires. Make sure this wire is out of the way. And make sure that sensor is in there all the way as well before you clamp it down. And then we clamp that down. That's an 8mm socket. And then we just need to put this back in and put this back in place. Now make sure to grab this, stick it in here so it lines up with those holes, and then clamp, or not clamp, screw everything back in place like it was originally. These are all 10mm bolts. Okay, after you've got all those bolts in place, the one down there, this one, and these, you can go ahead and run the wire again and plug this back in. Stick it in there to secure it. And then you can just pull this back up and make sure it fits there snug. And then just put the screw back in and we're done. Now don't forget to reconnect your negative battery terminal, and then we can go ahead and start the car. So we're done here, and we can go ahead and start the car and see if it fixed anything. Now when you first start the car, it may choke up a little. You might have to give it a little bit of gas to get it started.
Testing. System ready.
So, there we go. Let's see if it accelerates now. Well, reverse still sucks. And first seems to be doing slightly better, but not by much. As you can tell, it still doesn't accelerate as it should. Yeah. So I'm accelerating a ton here, and it's not going. This is third gear. Well, that didn't fix it, but at least I was able to show you guys how to clean the MAF sensor and the throttle body on a 2002 Nissan Maxima. So if you guys enjoyed that or you found it helpful, please remember to like, comment, favorite, or share this video so other people can get a chance to view it. Again, as always, thanks for watching.